Um,
We are live.
we're live.
Yeah, we are live. Hello, Hot Breath
Hot
Pro.
breath, bro.
Hel-
Bro. What's goody,
Let me do the
pros?
whispering better. What is Goody Pros? So we were supposed to have the first episode of our new series, the Going Pro series, but our
Yeah.
guest has not arrived.
Yes.
Awkward. So yeah, so
Awkward.
as people are coming in, you can add, we're going to do a Q&A.
Bo's gonna
Yeah,
answer
we're
your
going to do a
question.
Q&A session. We're going to Joel, I'll ask the questions, Joel will answer the questions, and Bob Kirk says hi Kirk. I
Bob.
wonder how many times, I do wonder how many times does Bob get like Captain Kirk impressions thrown at him? Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Well, hello everyone. Yeah, I just got a DM with a question that I think we can discuss as well.
Okay.
From Matt Bloom or Matt Blum, BLUHM. But it's so cool. He just like reached out saying how much he loves the content and seeing the community grow. He's not on Facebook, so he can't do the Right 10 Club, but he did he did show a little struggle with open mics that I think is a good topic to discuss, but I want to let peeps jump in here.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Sasha,
We have
Mike, and Sandy.
mhm.
Did I see Joan
Jody's in
sneak
the
in there?
house.
Was Joan in there?
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Oh, I
I
guess I
thought,
don't have to look on Facebook. They're right here on the side.
yeah.
Joan's a
There's
sniper
act,
now, Bo.
yeah,
Joan
and there's
is
a
she's
she
quick.
is
I've been seeing her
she
like
is
working these Zoom shows. She's sharp. She's a sniper out there nowadays, man. It's great.
yeah. I mean, she's been good, and I gotta say, Evelyn, Evelyn,
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it's
I,
funny like because they're both like it's like they're just kind, soft-spoken
yes,
people. You know what I mean? But then they're like they're snipers. They'll get you. And I love
yeah,
it. I love seeing that. I love a comic you don't expect it from them. Like they
right.
can tap into this sense of humor that you just don't expect. I love those types of comics. Um, so it's just cool. Yeah, it was just cool to see on PJ show last night. Just everyone's sets because it was a good like kind of a good like sample size of the Hot Breathiverse. It's like 20 something comics, and it was fun to see how everyone approached it differently and how everyone had kind of their own sets planned, some more than others. I mean, Davita's origin story of the bagel, like it was people were just so creative about it and they took it seriously. I think was what another thing that was inspiring is people actually took this seriously, and it was an incredible show and an incredible moment just for the Hot Breathiverse to really come together around. I think it's such a tragic situation, but I really do think it's brought us closer together. How people have just rallied around each other and really supported each other and really checked in on each other, and like what felt like a really connected comedy community, it's now like, I really feel like connected on like a family. I feel like we're a family now. Like we're a comedy
Yeah,
family. And it's just so inspiring and something I could have never imagined it evolving into when it started out, a little over a year ago. And then when I started comedy, I would have never imagined a group of comedians being this like tight knit and that supportive of each other. So I just from my experience, it's been super super inspiring. In spite of what has happened, just how close it's brought everyone and how just Yeah, it's been really inspiring, you know, because it hasn't been easy, that's for sure.
It definitely hasn't. I mean, even like just the night that we all found out what happened,
Ugh.
it was a struggle. Like I could say, like for myself and Kevin, we were 45 minutes away from doing a show for Flappers,
Oh,
and an online show, and all of a sudden we get that message. And for me personally, I was like, I can't do this now. Like usually my rule with
mm,
my family is don't give me any bad news or anything new because I can't. I gotta focus. And when that
yeah,
hit me, it was rough. And so myself and a bunch of the OGs, we have this um, Facebook, this group messaging going on, and so we all got on Zoom, started talking right up until the minute I had to go on the show. So I had flappers on my camera or on my computer, my phone. I had the OGs, and they were in my ear as I was doing the set, encouraged me all the way. And so I mean, it was really, really great. And I mean, I think Annalise had a show right as the news came out,
yeah,
and
I heard that
so
too.
everybody was supporting her. I mean, so it's been a great experience of everybody supporting each other during this whole thing. And then, putting that tribute together very last minute and switching with the show from a Mother's Day show to a tribute show was great because everybody came together, and it
Yeah,
was great to see PJ's
Aaron
mom there.
video as well.
And,
Yeah, PJ's mom, I think his sister was there as well.
I think so.
Yeah, and Aaron's video, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was a special moment. I mean, honestly, like maybe the most memorable thing of my I mean, I wouldn't even say comedy career. I mean, of my life, like people that don't even know each other, like
Right.
personally, like people who've never met each other, treating each other like family, like sincerely, you know, like no cap, as they say in the hip hop game. It was just all love, fam. And a lot of people who've never even met each other. You know, I'd never met PJ, but we all felt like we had. And those who had a story to tell about it as well. So yeah, it's just very inspiring what the Hot Breath verse did.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said last night, I've had those moments where the confidence just wasn't there at all, and he would just call me, be like, talk me off the ledge, um and help me get through it. So, I mean, it's amazing how much he gave to the community, but never like, ask for the spotlight of, hey, look what I did, look who I helped. And I mean, I had no idea he helped the amount of people that he did.
I did, dude. Matt Menard's joke, his opener, dude. It he built it and he milked it so perfectly. Just how much he meant to him and how he really gassed him up. And he's like, before I realized he told everyone that, like it was just I got the wording wrong, but he really did. He milked it. The timing was perfect. It was really good. But yeah, to see how he affected everyone and on a very personal level, you know, like how he affected everyone. And he gave so much of his heart, which show now is like, and that's what ended up going, you know, was his
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
Wow, man. Wow. Wow. Yeah.
It's truly amazing. It really is.
But we're in this together, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know what I don't know what I would have done without the Hot Breath verse. It was I mean, I just, we don't want to I don't know, man. Is beautiful. It was beautiful for us to all come together. You know, this won't be a sad pity party out there, but it is just after last night's show. I hadn't really reflected on it with anyone. You know, I mentioned it right 10 Club.
Yeah.
But it was just so moving, so special, so. And I tried to like make jokes at the beginning about like sentimental moments, and I was like, oh, I guess we don't have to do that. I guess we're just here to celebrate the life of PJ together. I don't have to make a joke of everything. Even when I started crying, I dabbed. Like, I'm just numb. I was like, I can't. And then I just
Dabbing is that all-purpose move. You can do it when you're happy. You could do it when you're
Yep.
sneezing. You could do it when you're crying.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you could do it when you flip somebody off in traffic.
You could do it in all walks of life.
I bet you could do that uniquely. Just
But anyway, I'm sorry. Looks like we have some stacked house in here though. Mario said my parents don't expect anything from me. Is that a good thing? Well, the bar is low, Mario. The bar is low. And Jody said this is cheaper than Joel's OnlyFans. Which really did recommend. We hopped on a call. He's like, dude, we got to talk this out. I think there's a lot of disruption that could be made in OnlyFans. I was just like, all right. We talked it through and I actually thought about it. And then that was it. I thought about it and was like, it's porn. I can't rebrand OnlyFans. I'm not going to be the person that, sinks that ship.
Right.
Oh, I love that.
Bob says we should travel in the same van across country, hot breath tour. Totally agree with that.
There's gotta be I know, man. There's gotta be someone else out there just a vagrant that has like an RV or like of just a van and just goes from town to town, just visiting all the hot breathiverse. I mean, I definitely want to be doing that on a less vagrant level. I don't know how my wife would feel about. We all know wife Caramel. We all know. I don't know what's going on there, but we'll do our best. But anyway,
this has got to the point. I think I need a nickname for my
for you too.
Yeah.
I like Caramel though. Yes. Caramel.
Yours is Caramel. I have to have a totally different name.
Oh yeah. Oh, no. Bobby said, "Can y'all see me? I joined Yard Stream." Yep, we can see you. We can definitely see it.
So here we go. Mike Marr asks, "What do you do when kids show up in the audience? Panic."
I mean, I'm not saying you should be clean, but if you're clean, you have nothing to worry about. I'm clean because I made that decision from the beginning of my career. That's what I wanted to do. And the benefit of that, in those situations, you're able to adapt. Like if a kid shows up or whatever, but also, I mean, there's just more work if you're clean. It's just economics. If you can entertain more people, that's more people that can book you. That's more people that can buy your tickets and buy your merch and whatnot. So there's just a huge upside to being clean in general, but I by no means preach, you better be clean or else or whatever. It's personal choice. You're a comic. You're an artist. It's your style. It's your journey. You do you, boo. But what do I do personally, which is what do you do when kids show up in the audience? I do the same things, because it's not, I can really entertain everyone, which is my goal. I want to be doing shows where I have grandkids and grandparents in there, but, I've seen comics. I can't say I've seen comics edit by like, if they swear in their joke or whatever, well, one, they'll call out that there's a kid and maybe make fun of the situation and be like, oh, I don't have any jokes. Like you can make fun of the situation. That's a fun way to kind of get some laughs based on it. And, but I've seen comics kind of like if they swear, they'll just do silly versions of it. Like flippity floppity, like instead of saying the F word, they'll be like, oh, the frickin' frick, or you know what I mean, or they'll like go into a joke and be like, oh, I can't finish that. So it's kind of like they do their material, but end up just making fun of it as opposed to actually doing the dirty parts of it. I mean, Bo, you said panic though. What do you do? What would you do?
I was just being a little sarcastic with that one. I've never had that situation. come up where there's a kid in the audience, or I was told, last minute there was a kid in the audience. Especially now that I'm actually trying to go clean, now I don't worry about it. And I'm getting better with it, so I don't worry about it. I don't know. I was thinking, can we just do the Vince Vaughn thing from Old School and go, "Hey kid, earmuffs."
Earmuffs, yeah. Oh, Old School's favorite, dude.
When I say earmuffs, you go like this, okay?
I love that. Old School's my favorite. Yeah, that's good.
I do.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
yeah. I hope that helps, Mike. But I mean, I'm not saying being clean is better, but there's just more there's just more opportunities if you're clean. But that being said, there's Doug Stanhopes, there's Bill Burrs, there's Nikki Glazers. I mean, you can be dirty and make it in comedy. It's what you want to do. So
yeah,
that's it.
Let's see here. Bobby says PJ is watching us from heaven and pulling major strings. I'd like to congratulate Joel Byers and the Hot Breath community for being chosen yesterday as the performance team for the United Nations to promote worldwide diversity inclusion.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, Bobby, talking to the gentleman today who reached out wanting the Hot Breathverse to do that. It was very cool.
Oh, really? Oh, I was like, I didn't know. I wasn't sure where she was going. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, like
this is like oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Just happened.
That is breaking news. Let's see, Jody. PJ was good at it, but how do you help a comic that is feeling beat down over the last year? He is funny, but overlooked in the local scene and is down on himself.
Well, not being alone. I mean, having this community is that's the X factor for everyone in here. I mean, honestly, because I felt alone so many times in my pursuit of comedy and being a professional, and so many times it was who do I go to even? I mean, the podcast started as a way for me to talk to comedians in a lot of ways, to seek mentorship in a lot of ways, was sitting down and asking them the questions I wanted to ask, but never felt accepted or felt enough of, never felt like I was enough to be asking these questions to other comedians, which is a lot of how the podcast started, but I think if a comic is feeling alone, it is one, tapping into this community. If it's someone in here, tap into this community, tap into someone in here. If you don't want to post in the group, because honestly, I mean, at this point, I feel like in Hot Breath Pro, you could post in the group, you're struggling with X, Y, and Z, or you're feeling this or that. And there's going to be several people that reach out to you and can show support and give their personal example of when they felt this way, what they did, or just their personal example of how you're not alone and how can they help, and you can really work through this together. Because that's the whole point of having this community, is just understanding you're not alone, and you don't have to be alone, and it doesn't have to be this very single player game. Comedy is a team sport now more than ever. So you have a team of comics here to help you through those low times. And trust me, I've never felt accepted in my scene. I've never felt like the cool kid. I've always had to do my own things. I've always had to start my own shows and do the shows no one else. I didn't do the cool shows. I was doing a strip club on the South Side. I was bruh. But yeah, I was never the cool kid, and that's why Hot Breath exists now, because it's the in club for the outsiders, the underdogs. It's the something for the underdogs. That should be the tagline. The da for the underdogs. What would it be, Bo? The da for the underdogs.
Some for the underdogs.
The da. Anyway, I'm sorry, Bo. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
No, the creative brain probably isn't working right now.
No, you're good. I think just do your own things. If you're feeling overlooked in your own local comedy scene, start your own shows, just start creating your own opportunities and just use this community as your support system as well.
I mean, and I think in some ways, I mean, like, I know one of the things that PJ did is, like, instead of texting people, he just called people.
Yeah.
Like, even through, like, he would just FaceTime people using Facebook Messenger, and just, I mean, that's like the first time it shocked me. It was like, what? And then, I mean, I answered it because, hey, PJ's a good guy, and I was like, and then he just started, like, encouraging me. So instead of, I think sometimes that call goes a lot further than a text.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's always just one option. Coming to think of, like, what he did, and I know apparently he just FaceTimed Evelyn and coached her and helped out Annalise, and I mean, he wasn't shy about hitting that FaceTime button rather than just the text button. So
Or
I think
that's
that's
where
where,
reaching out. He took initiative,
yeah, I mean, that
that's
went a long way.
Sullivan said he was definitely on a pay by the minute phone plan. Hilarious. Oh, she said the watering hole for the underdogs. I like that.
The watering hole for the underdogs.
Yeah.
Sandy, is anyone else finding that material that works on Zoom falls flat on live shows? Not sure if it's the audiences, the medium, or both. I would actually say it's the timing of it all. Because Zoom is a weird beast compared to live. The time, like, timing is just weird when it comes. I mean, it's how to explain it. I mean, I have noticed it. But I'd also noticed that when I'm doing Zoom, I'm more relaxed because A, I'm at home, B, I'm sitting down, and those are the two big things. And then there's the timing issue, and so I think I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm trying to figure out how to put this over there.
Yeah, I haven't really done enough live shows yet. I'm doing a couple this week, thank goodness. And then I'm doing mine next Saturday. I'm like bumping this all over the place, but I haven't done it yet, so I don't know that translation. I would agree with Bo, though. It probably is a timing thing or maybe delivery, but I really don't like the. Yeah, I can't really speak on anything I don't have personal experience with. I don't like when people do that and they're just like, well, I've never experienced this, but kind of like, never mind. But some people teach but don't practice, those types of things. But never mind. I don't know who I'm talking about there. We won't call that back to the last time we did a Q&A. We got a couple shout outs. I think it was when Corley was on. There was a couple shout outs to another teacher. But but yeah, that's interesting. I'm excited to see what translates. The one show I've done this year. Oh, that's the spirit of that other teacher heckling me. The one thing I've done this year, the jokes translated, but it's a different ballgame when you're on stage. Like,
right.
I'm super excited to get back up there and just to see what does translate for sure. Ooh, I was drinking this mushroom tea, and I think I got some of the grit at the bottom, like in my throat.
Yeah, I'll stick to coffee
right now, bruh. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yeah, coffee is so sneaky, dude. Like, because like I was off of it for a month, and then I like snuck a little back in, and then I got all the way back on it, and I was like, Jesus, like it only takes one, and then you're like back on it. Like, it's legit, you know what I mean? So I'm back off of it. Like, I'll do it on the weekends, but I've backed off. But it's a slippery slope, my friend. It makes me feel. It gives me anxiety, and then it makes me just feel busy instead of productive. Like, I'm just like jittery about I have to do everything, and then I'm unfocused most of the day, like because I'm trying to do like 15 things at once.
I've been drinking so much for so long that it's kind of like I could actually drink a couple cups and still go take a nap. So
I mean, I've heard people on like Comedians in Cars. Steve Harvey said that. He was, so you're like Steve Harvey, Bo.
I just need I just need the better mustache. And
yeah. Oh, dude, let me do this question real quick. Because I said I wanted to open up with this one, but this one was from Matt Blum, who hit me up on Instagram, and he was having trouble getting on open mics in his town. He's thinking about moving and all of that, and he's like, I know a lot of places other than clubs have open mics, cafes and stuff, but how do I find those small spots? Haven't found any websites or hubs for that info. There's usually Facebook groups. He said he's in Cincinnati. I don't know if anyone at Hot Breath Pros in Cincinnati, but I mean there's Facebook groups almost for every city now and every comedy scene. That's a good way. And if you can't find any, start your own.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like if you can't find a show, start your own. Hosting is the best way. Hosting is the number one way to get better faster. You learn so much not only about the business of comedy, running a show, understanding all of that is so valuable, but you're just on stage that much more. You're not doing 5 minutes. You're on there most of the evening. You have to learn how to engage with an audience. You have to learn how to be more conversational and not so rigid in your material. You know, so it helps you develop. I mean, it helps you develop everything. How conversational you are on stage, how comfortable you are on stage. And it's a learning curve for sure. Trust me, when I started hosting, I went up there and just started saying one-liners at the beginning of a show, and people were like, what is happening? Is it? Oh, I guess we've started. Like, there was no beach entrance into it. There's no welcome. There was no, hi, I'm Joel. It was boom, joke 1, joke 2. And that's why I did the workshop on hosting, because it's just such a valuable, and that's why there's the class on, there's a class in here on how you can start your own show and get paid. And that's why, because I think it's the number one thing comics can do to level up their game, starting their own shows. So
I can say there is a Facebook page, Cincinnati Stand-Up Comedy. There's 2,000 members to it, and now there's 2001.
I love it. But I just I wanted to reach out. Yeah, I just wanted to answer that for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because I'd like to send this clip to him, just so he could be like, because he reached out loving the content and everything, and he's not on Facebook, so this will be a fun thing to send Matt. So yeah, go start your own show, join that Facebook group, Matt, and I think that's a great place to start.
Boom, there it is.
Boom.
Cincinnati. Hard to see, but yeah, Cincinnati Stand-Up Comedy. And every time I think of Cincinnati, all I can think of is WKRP.
WKRP.
Anyways. Oh, that was a show in the 80s. That was probably kind of
like a radio show.
No, it was a TV show. It was a comedy show about a failing radio station.
What was the show called?
WKRP. Cincinnati.
Now it's WFAIL, I guess.
Yeah, it was a show in, I think it was early 80s, and it was a failing station that turned into a rock and roll station, and it had a couple good characters in there and a few memorable scenes.
Oh, Airheads was kind of like a radio station that was switched. That's a movie though. Right. But I think that was Brendan Fraser and
wasn't Adam Sandler?
Adam Sandler was the other guy. Yeah,
that's like early Adam Sandler.
That was actually a funny movie. I used to watch that one a lot, like on TBS. I feel like that and Drop Dead Fred.
I think the other day I was so bored that I actually started contemplating the meaning of all the early Adam Sandler movies. And then I started to find the deeper meaning into it. So I was pretty bored.
Adam's a sleeper, dude, and like on so many levels that like he's a bajillionaire and he's created
Mhm.
so many amazing movies and such. But still, it's like there's so much of it. It's like we almost take it for granted. Like
Right.
we're just like, oh yeah, it's another Adam Sandler movie. You're like, do you know how prolific this guy is to be creating all
Yeah.
this stuff? And it all hits like in terms of like Netflix bought his movies and all
Mhm.
this, like incredible. Well, I'm
Like,
excited to get it on Hot Press.
yeah, I mean, like in all honesty, like if you look at like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and even Big Daddy, like in the end, it's the same message. Because like it's in the end where he figures out what exactly his life path is supposed to be, because he just didn't have it figured out.
Oh, is that like the formula?
What is
Basically. Break it down a little bit for us, Bo. We'll get to your questions, I promise.
I mean, that's just my opinion of it. Like, if you look at Billy Madison, he has no idea what he wants to do. He's a grown-up child. He has like basically Peter Pan syndrome, and he's supposed to inherit his dad's hotel corporation. And in the end, he ends up going like, you know what? I don't want that. I want to be a teacher. This is my life. Happy Gilmore, like he knew he always wanted to be a golfer, but in the end, he just had to really find that thing that gave him the most joy and happiness, which really was just his grandmother and love. Big Daddy, even though his dad always pressured him into being a lawyer, he never really saw exactly like that's what he wanted to do. He just knew that's what his dad wanted him to do, And in the end, like if you actually look at most of his movies, it actually follows the same thing. It's in the end is where he figures out what he really is supposed to do with his life.
Yeah, but
it's actually not all of them, but hey, look, even in Little Nicky, he figured out at the end he was supposed to be a manager at Popeyes.
Oh,
nice. But that's just my opinion of the matter.
No, we appreciate your opinion, Bo.
Hey, look, I found
you matter. You have good.
Hey, look, I'm 40 years old. I started doing comedy at 37, going, oh, you know what? I love doing this. I really want to do this. Screw being a teacher. I'm going to be a comic because being broke is kind of my style.
Might as well be broke and happy, right?
Right. Exactly. Let's see, Joel.
We left off. I want to make sure we didn't skip it. Is this the one we were on?
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see here. Yeah. Joel, now that you have this community, do you feel more of a mentor or a peer to us in this group?
I personally, is this Chris?
I'm not sure who this is. They didn't click the link to get their name up here.
I was noticing Chris's wasn't showing up.
There's a link. I'm going to post it. And if you want your name to show up, click the link.
Oh yeah, it was Chris. Okay, I noticed his name wasn't showing up. Because that's why I was trying to go in the Facebook group too. Honestly, I feel like a peer. 100%. I by no means. I mean, like I said earlier, I only talk about what I know and have personal experience with. I'm learning right along with you. I'm not by any means trying to come off as a guru. Like I'm trying to bring the gurus in for us all to learn from. So I feel like I'm a peer with you. I feel like we're all in this together. We're all still learning this. We're all still having our ups and downs and our wins and our losses. There are no losses, only lessons. And I heard a good one. Today. The process prepares you. Because I mean, me 11 years in, I've definitely had moments, and even recently, of like, what am I doing? Like, where's my blah, blah, blah? Like, whatever story we tell ourselves of the conspiracy of why we're not Kevin Hart or whatever, even though we've done nothing to deserve or earn it. So I feel like a peer, to be honest. Like, I'm happy to answer questions and help as much as I can, but I feel like I'm a peer. You know, I mean, I have more experience that I can help with, but I'm still learning right along with you. I'm by no means one of these comedy gurus that know everything, but I'm happy to bring them in here and us all learn from it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Bobby says, "You're not alone in this feeling." I'm guessing this goes to Jody.
Oh,
Without
yeah.
hot breath,
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably have cracked from the local loneliness in my city scene.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I'll say even here in Charlotte, it gets a little oof,
But that's why
iffy
I'm hoping.
sometimes.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that like these, as live shows come back, I'm really hoping that when we get into our scenes, it just starts to kind of seep in one comic at a time. Like you see one, you maybe feel a little isolated, but you end up talking to one comic there, and you're like, "Oh, have you heard of Hot Breath?" And then it's kind of like, "What?" And then they see the podcast, maybe they join the Right 10 Club. It's like they start to feel like what it's like to be in a positive and supportive community, and then now that comic almost took the blue pill, and they're like, oh, we can all be nice and supportive and friendly with each other. And then it kind of just grows one comic at a time. You know, that's how I'm really hoping it'll start to kind of permeate into all these comedy scenes.
Well, you know, and then if you look at like actually watch and listen to some of the interviews with like Jay Leno and that generation that came up, they were pretty tight knit. Like they all knew each other. They all like gave each other advice and helped each other. You know, I remember Foxworthy actually saying that he would actually have writing sessions with Larry the Cable Guy. Go, look, I wrote this joke. It doesn't fit me. It fits you. Here you go. You know, so like that group back then was very close knit, like we are here. So, you know, to the rest that doesn't want to be, I mean, there's been those groups in the past. So,
yeah, and you see some like it seems like Joe Rogan and those. It seems like some of those comics at that level are very nice and supportive of each other. I mean, we don't know what's behind the scenes on like we see them all on each other's podcasts, but I mean, we don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know what happens at the Comedy Store. Like it's seemingly what I've heard is that it's great and it's positive and supportive. So they're also leading by example of the 1% of comedians are acting like this. So why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't you're in an open mic? Why would you be a jerk? What? It's all, I'm sure it's all like insecurity to some degree.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's enough to go around for sure.
Definitely. Bobby says Sandy Bernstein, yes, and some material I can't use at all, as most stages have no digital media access.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how these Zoom jokes translate, though. That's an interesting topic.
Sandy says Kennel Club for the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Do we have any questions?
I thought we had some up a little more.
Got the pier.
Because Aaron Sampson has one. I see Bobby has one as well. It's like after Mike Mars said earmuffs great.
Somehow it's not popping up. Oh, there we go. Let's see. Question: if we start a tour, would anyone from the Hot Breathiverse be willing to carpool with me? I can't get into carpools locally. I'm usually told because I'm married, so I'm of no benefit to the group. But what a superb wing gal. I mean, shoot, like why not carpool?
Oh yeah,
especially today.
Yeah, in the band. It was just why not carpool? And then like pandemic just hit. Like pandemic just
You know, I mean, hey, we're all out of gas, so might as well carpool now. So
carpool to a Zoom show.
Well, we'll tell jokes for gas.
Oh yeah, there was one a little up too. Aaron had one below. Yeah, this one. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm traveling not for comedy, but would love to get some gigs while in Dallas and Palm Beach, Florida. if you are emailing clubs for a spot, what do you put in the subject line to get them to read it, and in the body for them to book me?
Ooh. Honestly, I think wherever you're from, usually when I mean, honestly, I haven't emailed a club. I don't know when. But that's not to say you shouldn't. Look, so it's been a pandemic as well. I need to keep remembering that. I was like, I haven't done anything. You're like, well, there hasn't been anything, I have to remember that. But yeah, I think wherever you're from, like, so let's say I'm from Atlanta, so I'd be like Atlanta comic guest spot. Like I would just put that in the subject line. And then, hey, so and so, I'm so and so from blank and blank. I'll be in town, or I've heard great things about your club and would love to perform on a guest spot on a night you see me a good fit for. And then you can have, like, I'll paste a link to my set below, but anytime you're able to share is greatly appreciated. Like something, introducing yourself. If you have any credits or experience, even if it's not credits, if it's like you've been doing comedy X amount of years or whatever, just to give them context for who you are, but just kind of praise their club, say you've heard great things, even if you haven't really heard anything. It's a good way to just be like, oh, yes, we do have a great club here. And just keep it brief, keep it tight, have a set to send them. But honestly, I mean, when you're going to like Dallas and Palm Beach, I mean, Facebook groups, honestly, like at this point, the shows, I mean, I'm not saying don't email the clubs, but I'm just saying those Facebook groups, you'll be able to connect with comics directly who may be able to connect you to the club as well. You just never know. So I would say email the club, but also get into that Facebook group, start connecting with comics. Let them, I know Atlanta has like a group that says I'm coming to Atlanta, and then you go in there and you post your clip and say if anyone has any stage time type deal. So yeah, I would.
And there's one for there's one for Charleston, one for Nashville. A lot of big cities have that
I'm
site,
coming to thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So look. I would say look up Facebook groups and start there as well. Nice.
Let's see. Question. I have a lot of jokes about my kids and parenthoods, but at the open mics I frequent, it's mostly greasy young dudes that don't have kids. Should I be testing out my kid family material for audiences that have kids?
I say do the jokes.
Yep.
Do the reps. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if it's mostly greasy young dudes that don't have kids, sounds like you're on an open mic. And open mics are the reps. You know, I mean, that's the gym. If it's the deadlifts, the more you do a joke, the more confident you'll get in it, the more comfortable you'll get in the delivery of it, and the more it'll just grow just from doing repetition. I think those of you watching this who have worked on a joke for a long time, when you do it a lot, it just organically evolves and it just organically grows, and you start to find different ways of saying things or different angles you can bring in. And on any given night, especially in like open mics, you may just say something that you don't even like, you just say it because you're like, oh, I'm here, whatever. And you just say it. And then it becomes like a new punchline or a new angle on the joke. So I say, if you can deliver those jokes in front of, like, enthusiastically in front of like just unenthusiastic people, when you get in front of a real audience, oh, it's going to crush and you're going to be flying. So I would definitely say it's kind of like, it's like doing heavy reps, and you want to make sure you learn good form before you like put on too much weight. It's good form to just practice these jokes, even when there isn't that much response happening.
Right.
If you want.
I mean,
yeah.
You know, and I think for a lot of like newer comics, we're expecting open mics to go in there and get laughs. And if we don't get laughs, and it's like, oh, well, that didn't go well. when in reality, I think we all suffer with that. But in reality, we're all there trying to do the same thing. We're working about our stuff. We're only paying attention to our stuff. Not every comic's paying attention to you. And hey, I'm guilty of not always paying attention to other comics. And I think that's where like Steve Rosenfeld had said, test your stuff out on real audiences because that's your measuring stick. Because again, open mics, we're just there trying to pay attention to us and us only, not everybody, but a lot of comics. So you're not. So it's basically like I know Joel, you said in the past, like use this as an opportunity to get this goal. Maybe it's the timing. Maybe it's the pace. Maybe it's not looking at your notes and having it memorized. Have a goal at the open mic, and if you get laughs, hey, bonus. But it's that the repetition, memorizing it. What's your goal for it? But a lot of times, I know, like even here, like most of the comics are outside just BS and drinking and doing whatever, and they're not even paying attention. So,
yeah. I mean, that's what I would do is set a goal for like each set. Like, I want to do a big act out on this joke. That's my goal for this set, regardless of what happens, and just kind of build it brick by brick. So yeah, I say go for it. Yeah, let's just still rep it out, Aaron.
Yeah. Mike Marr asks, Bo, how did you get your shows lined up in the 3 states recently? I just reached out. I reached out to Hot Breath members that were producing shows. So I reached out to Tamagram. I reached out to Dawn, sent, what I had video wise. And, like John Chappelle, he saw some of my stuff and asked me to come down last September. So that was just the basic is I just kind of reached out to those that are producing shows, and just, see what I can do. So,
and that's a big, that's what I saw with Hot Breath Pro starting it is like people starting to get booked, people starting to get paid as well to do this. Like, I do see that as part of like a big benefit of being in here. There just hasn't been live shows and people just aren't producing as many shows right now. But I do. Once we get up and running, that's really part of the goal, Bo, is like you'd be like, oh, let me just reach out to some of the Hot Breathiverse, see who's booking, see who can have me,
Right. Plus it was, for me, it was, the first time I actually had a one-on-one with Joel, he advised me like, well, dude, you got to come down to Georgia. Like it's a bigger comedy scene. You'll be amazed about the laughs you'll get. And so I took the advice, and the moment John said, come on down, I was like, okay, I'm going. And it was one of the best shows I'd ever had. On the other side, I'm a little bored with Charlotte right now because it's the same shows, same people, and I needed, fresh ears, fresh audience. And so writing on that, how great going to Georgia was, it's like, hey, you know what? I want to go to other states. I don't want to be stuck doing the same stuff all the time with the same people all the time. And for me, that just gets really boring really quick. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out. So I reached out to Tamagram. I reached out to Dawn, and I think I reached out to Jody recently about who to talk to in Charleston. And
nice.
I'm just trying to get out because that's the only way I'm going to like move up, I think, is just get those reps in other places. And so, yeah. So that's the best way to do that one.
Yeah. And if you're feeling bogged down or in the hamster wheel of your local comedy scene and you're like, well, I can't get out. Like, I have a job or like it's expensive or whatnot. Like, a way to like break the monotony is to just try something you've never done on stage. Like if you're feeling the monotony, maybe it's because your set is monotonous. You're doing the same thing over and over again. It's boring because you know what to expect. So challenge yourself, get out of your comfort zone, especially if you're talking about open mics, do weird. I used to rub walls. I've flailed on the floor. I've yelled and screamed. I've gone all over the place at these open mics, just really just testing the limits, seeing what's possible, just breaking out of my shell and just having fun. So when you're feeling that monotony, it's time to switch something up, and it's switching up where you perform, whether it's in another scene or you starting your own show, or it's how you perform is another way without having to go anywhere new. It's just how are you performing? What are you doing? Just mix it up. It's incremental. Like, it's like not one show is like, oh, that's comedy. It's like it's an incremental build. You learn by doing a lot. So just take each set as an opportunity to get a little bit better, to set a goal and just achieve that goal, and just keep working and building on these sets one by one. And then in 6 months, you'll look back and be like, oh, wow, I did a lot there. I evolved a lot there. It's all a process, my friends.
Let's see here.
Nice.
Comedians with bikes.
Nice.
with no gas. That's what it's going to be now, comedians with bikes. Let's see. See, everybody knows WKRP in Cincinnati. Lonnie Anderson
knows.
Dr. Johnny Fever. He was the big stoned out rock and roll DJ. So a lot of people talking about the Little Nicky.
Yeah. Bobby said Sinbad told her the same thing about getting to find acceptance, get out of your town.
Yep. Do we have any more questions? Looking for the actual questions. Winning, new material.
Oh, John Chappell showed up.
John, oh, hey, I just showed up and heard my name. Yes, John, I was talking about you. The question came about getting out of town, and so I brought up your name because you're the one that brought me down to Georgia, and can't thank you enough for that. That was a great show. God, that was a great show.
Yeah, John runs a great show down there, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, and John Mulhill said, thanks, Bo and Joel. Always good information. Nice.
It was an interesting show because that was my first one out of the Carolinas, and it was a learning experience in between the two shows about slowing down and taking my time with the material. The second show got a little weird because one of the comics got heckled, and I think it got a little bit racial at one point. And
yikes.
So it was, so John got the ball going and rolling again, and the comfort level and the laughter is up, and that was just a great show. That's the one my wife managed to record, but she was holding it, and so it was like, so it's not a steady shot, and but it was great.
Yeah, I don't think.
But yeah, I don't see any more questions.
Did Sullivan ask, can y'all refresh the breakdown of the laugh trigger? Uncomfortable? I'm not sure what. The laugh trigger, uncomfortable.
Refresh the breakdown of the laugh trigger. Uncomfortable. I'm not sure what that means. Sullivan, what are you talking about?
Why I didn't read his joke? Did I miss his joke? I'll get messages, dude. People will message me after write 10. You forgot my joke. Like, I'm sorry.
And then you know what? When people host this for the first time and then they start getting that message, and they go, "Oh, Joel didn't see it. I got it."
Oh yeah. Oh, I like when people host, and then those are my favorite messages when people host it, and then they're like, "I don't know how you do that every day." It's like, yeah, well, you're welcome.
Well, I think what people don't get is, like, if 7 people message at the exact same time, it's not going to go in the order you see it on your screen. It'll be different, because I've looked at a couple different screens and see the order completely differently. And yeah, so some people just need to chill out. Just chill, just relax. Joel's got this. He's a professional.
Oh, and it seems
ding,
like ding. That's what I was thinking, that sound effect.
I should record that and send it to your wife. He's a professional. He knows what he's doing.
Ding. Come on.
People laugh at Dead Dad releasing the uncomfortable.
Oh, I'm actually um, Sullivan, I'm bringing in. There's a comic named Glenn Tickle, who Glenn Tickle, I know, but he actually did that tickle your fancy there? But he's dope. He actually has his own like comedy label, but he released a comedy special all about that topic. Like I think it was gosh, I'm not. I mean the special's called Good Grief, but it's about it's basically, I mean, the tagline is it's about a comedy about loss and being bad at it. But I mean, it's all about grief and his dealing with a family member dying. I think it was his brother that died, but I mean, I think it's no more relevant than now, you know, to bring him in and help talk about how he used comedy to help deal with those moments of grief and uncertainty and discomfort. So he actually just responded to me saying that he can do after 5 p.m. So I'm thinking maybe tomorrow. I'm thinking we may do it tomorrow because I remember, Sullivan, you told me you can do anything after 5 p.m. So that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
Oh, and Winston Hodges did it as well. Yeah, I did a Zoom show with him. Yeah. So we should bring both of them in for sure. Yep. So I'll let them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No, that was it. Yeah, I'll just let them kind of like only talking about what I know. Like I haven't had to write anything about that. So let's bring both of them. We'll bring Winston and Glenn in to talk about those things for sure.
Is it better to get a hosting gig at a club or booked as an opener as far as credits are concerned? Is it better to get a hosting gig at a club or booked as an opener?
I mean, I'm guessing as an opener, you mean as a feature, is what I'm assuming. As far as credits are concerned, I mean, unless you're like headlining a club, I mean, you could just say you've performed at this club, or you've worked this club, you know. I mean, featuring's better. I mean, the hierarchy is really like host, feature, headliner. So if you're featuring, you're getting more stage time, you're getting paid more, but also it has more credibility if you're talking about credits. But unless you're headlining, I would say you've worked at these clubs and just kind of use it as a credit that way, and wouldn't say host or feature. You could just say you've worked there, and it can kind of be interchangeable at that point. Yeah, people talking about Winston's set too. You'll have to check it. Out. I'm familiar with him, but and I kind of I looked into what he had done, but I haven't watched it. But sounds interesting.
Yeah, I will take a look. Well, I guess it's time to land this plane.
It is time to land this plane, I believe. Yeah.
All right. Well, this was interesting. Unfortunately, our guest did not show up, but hey, a Q&A is a good thing too. A booker did not show up. A booker did not show up for the show on how to go pro. But next week we have an agent coming on. He did guarantee to me he would be on. We have an agent coming on next Thursday, on what the process is to get an agent. Where do you need to be? What do you need to do? The whole process to go for going pro.
Brilliant. I'm super excited about that.
I'm excited about this one because, you know, we're talking to a lot of different people on getting them on, because there's like so many avenues for going pro that I never realized until a year ago is, you know, clubs that's just not the only venue. And
for sure,
some people are just strictly corporate comics, which I might need to get there's a couple corporate comics I might need to get on here to talk about their experience with it. Like, yeah, so I mean, definitely a lot of venues that we're going to do with this new series,
For sure.
the Going Pro series.
Ooh.
Ooh, I need that. I need that little. Ooh, who needs a button when I can do it myself? So no Q&A next week with Joel. Well, Chris, next week's
I'll do
next
mine
week's
Wednesday.
yeah, Q&A for next Wednesday, I guess that's on Joel, but the next week's pro thing will be on Thursday. Our guest has a weekly obligation on for Wednesdays, so I got him on next Thursday.
Very exciting. Yeah, so I'll do a Q&A next week for sure.
Awesome. Well, I've got nothing else. The coffee is empty.
Oh, better go re-up.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Joel.
Thank you both. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. I love you all.
Bye.